Well, I'm at this place called Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. First of all, it's very quiet and peaceful here. I'm at the North Welcome Center. There's hardly anybody here. I think there was only one other car in the parking lot at the time I pulled in. But here's my problem. On the way over here, probably the last 15 minutes, I was driving the truck. It was like choppy, like trying to go up a hill. I was like, what is wrong with this thing? And then I looked over there and my engine light was blinking. I am 10 hours away from home. I have to be home. And I can't spend any money fixing that truck. I'm gonna get a new truck as soon as I get home, or another truck. And I don't know what it is. I mean, the only thing I can guess is the transmission. But I don't have one of those things you can plug in, you know, to like check. What a mess. At least I made it this far. So the reason I turned into this Land Between the Lakes is, first of all, I was gonna just drive around a little bit and take some pictures and then go through, because you can drive all the way through, you know, it's about 20 miles. It's like a scenic drive. And then I was gonna hit the highway and head on to Nashville. I mean, it's really pretty here, if that's any consolation. The other thing is, like, if I'm driving in the truck and, you know, the engine light's kind of coming on, you know, and I feel the choppiness, I get to the crest of a hill, and if I start going down the hill and don't give it any gas for about, let's say, a minute, the engine light will go off. I think it might be transmission. If it is transmission, that's fine. I will hop home. I don't know how I'm gonna hop through the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's all I know. You ever been in this situation you're just not sure what to do? I know one thing for sure is that I do not want to spend any money working on that truck. I want to somehow get that truck to hop home, or just coast, or if I have to drive at night and go 20 miles an hour, that's fine. Well, I need to find a way home. Okay, so here's the deal. I am at Love's Truck Stop, and you know, I still have the truck problem, and I've done some research online, and I've Googled it, and then I've, did a Facebook post, and some people have responded. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I think it's one of the cylinders not firing. So I don't think it's a transmission. I think it's probably something like the cylinder is misfiring or a spark plug not working. So what I'm gonna do is probably what my dad would have done. I'm just going to limp it back. So I'm 10 hours away. I'm in Kentucky. So if I leave in the dead of night when it's cool and there's no traffic, I can just limp it back. Hello folks, I am in a good mood today. I want to get on here and tell you about the resolution to my problem, to my truck problem. First of all, I did arrive back home. Let me tell you, you're gonna love this. Let me tell you the story of how this all panned out, okay? All right, the magic behind it all. When I first discovered the truck problem, I was going to this place called Land Between the Lakes, which is like a recreation area type of place, right? So it was going like up the hill, right? So I got to the first station, or whatever you call it, like welcome center or whatever, and I parked, and that's when I first discovered I had this problem. I needed to come up with a resolution to the problem. So I remember thinking to myself, okay, I don't know what's wrong. Is it a transmission, something else? I don't know what's wrong. Because I don't know what's wrong, I don't know how to fix it. And also, since I don't want to spend any more money on this truck, I don't know how much all this is going to cost to fix it. So those were my main concerns. There was a Love's Truck Stop like 5 miles away. So I thought, well, if I need to spend the night, I know I can spend the night at a Love's Truck Stop. So I got in the truck. I was able to drive it the 5 miles to the Love's Truck Stop. If you've seen any of my other videos, you will know, and I've said this numerous times, that every time I am in a crisis, 100% of the time, the exact person I need is sent to me every time. I mean, it's actually getting pretty spooky because it's so obvious. And I'm going to tell you, when I explain it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Many times I've gotten stuck before and the exact person came along to fix it. I've gotten my brakes messed up on my trailer before. UPS guy stopped his truck and helped me with that. He knew exactly what to do. It's like someone always comes along, and we're talking about within an hour. So since that has been my history, the first thing I thought about, well, I know someone's being sent to help me. I just don't know who it is because I can never spot who it is, right? So I'm at the Love's truck stop. I went outside with this camera and I was making a YouTube video. And I was just, kind of like talking about my problem, my plight, of the bad truck problem. And this guy, he looked like a jogger because he's like all sweaty and everything, an Asian guy. He was in the parking lot of the Love's and he yelled across, he said, so do those solar panels work pretty good on the back of your trailer? And I was like, yeah, they work pretty good. And so then, since I answered him, he walked up to me and started talking to me. He says, I've often have thoughts of getting like a bunch of solar panels and then getting an electric car. And then that way I could use the solar panels to charge the car and I wouldn't have to buy gasoline anymore and wouldn't have to worry about increasing prices of energy or gasoline and all this kind of stuff. And I said, oh yeah. I said, well, that I hate to throw a wrench into things, but the problem with that is that electric cars are several times the cost of a regular car. That could be twice or 3 times the cost of of a combustion engine vehicle. So really, it would be quite some time before, it would be a case of diminishing returns, really. It would be some time before that could be paid off, before it could, make sense to do that. He says, I guess it all depends on how much you get the car for. I was like, well, I guess, anything's possible to throw into the equation there. He said, you ought to see the car I've got right now. He said, I've got a Mercury, really nice Mercury. He said, that car's worth like $6,000. He said, but I got it for $1,600. I said, oh, fascinating. Well, how did you manage that? Just trying to keep the conversation going. He says, he says it was a guy from the university and he really didn't know how to fix vehicles, but I did. He said, and when I first got into that thing and I started going along, it was going like that. And so my eyes start getting big. I'm like, oh my God, you're the one sent. So he said, it started doing like that. He said, I took it to the, he took it home or whatever. I guess he took it to the parts store or whatever. He said, I checked the engine. There's a computer you can plug in, check the engine. He said, I found that it's an 8-cylinder car. He said, I found out it was 4 bad spark plugs. He said, I took the ignition cap off. I replaced all 4 spark plugs, closed it back up. It runs like a charm. He said, it cost me like $120. And I said, you will just not believe what you have just told me. He said, what do you mean? I said, less than an hour ago, I had the exact same problem on my vehicle. And my questions were, what is it? How can I fix it? And how much will it cost to fix it? And you have just come and told me exactly all those answers. He says, oh, okay, well, that's good. So he doesn't even know that he's the messenger here. So like a few minutes more, finished the conversation. He started to walk off. I said, look, I really appreciate you giving me that information. He's like, oh yeah. Like he still doesn't get it. he's a player in this game. So I had put a message on Facebook, like inquiring, does anyone know what the problem is? So I went inside, read all my replies, and they all were the same thing. It's a bad spark plug or, injection coil or, something along that line, something to do with the cylinder. And I thought, I don't even have to open the lid, and I already have the answer. Yeah, I was given the answer. I mean, I thought the question, and then less than an hour later, somebody is sort of sent to me and just tells me the exact answer. The odds of that, it definitely was meant to happen. It was planned. I don't believe in luck anymore. I don't believe in luck or odds or anything. But the odds of that happening are billions to 1. Billion. First of all, no one's ever talked to me about that problem before. Never in my entire life. And for him to give me the exact answers, it was just like, I was like, huh, I guess my cries for help have been heard. So now I have the answer. So I wasn't upset anymore. I knew, what I had to do. So I decided, well, since it's that, I can probably drive it back. 10 hours drive, I can probably do that. Because see, I don't have the tools to change out spark plugs or anything. I don't carry that kind of stuff with me, So I drove back. So over the next couple of days, I drove a lot of hours. I drove through a bunch of different states, Missouri and Illinois and Kentucky and Tennessee and then Virginia and then North Carolina. So I drove through all those states and I was exhausted, and I've slept like 11 hours for the past 2 days each night. I was so tired. But I am safely back. So since I know exactly what the problem is, I went down here today to the O'Reilly Auto Parts. And I went in there, I says, look, I said, don't you have some kind of a computer you can plug into the truck and tell me exactly, what the problem is? He said, oh yeah, he grabbed it right up. Like, people must ask for that all the time, right? And he plugged it up. I said, I think I'm pretty sure I know what it is. He says, okay. I said, I think it's a spark plug or something to do with his cylinder. So anyway, he plugged it up, he came back inside, he plugged into the computer, and everything comes up on the screen, like the VIN number, everything, the model and everything. And he says, yep, it's cylinder number 2 misfire. I said, okay, tell me what I need to do to fix that. He says, and it says right up there on the screen, you either need a new ignition coil or a new spark plug. So I said, let's get both. So I got a new ignition coil and I got a new spark plug. And the total was less than $100 because I paid in cash. It was a $100 bill, and I think I got like, $12 back or something like that. So it was less than $100. And so yeah, the problem is going to be solved. Now I don't know that I have a tool to change the spark plug. So I'm gonna wait till my neighbor Mike gets home from work, and I'm just gonna say, well, it's cylinder number 2. Can you change this? And I'm gonna watch you do it in case I never need to do it again. He'll be glad to do that. So in the meantime, I would like to have another truck, right? So I went online and I found one that would be nice. It's about $13,500. But I need the $13,500 to get it. So while I was in the O'Reilly Auto Parts store, I stopped by the store right next to it, which is the Sheetz, and I bought 2 scratch-offs. I know this is insane because you're thinking like, what are the odds? So I said to myself, if I scratch each of these off and if there's like $13,000 to $15,000 I win, that means I'm supposed to get that vehicle. So don't you love my fun and games? So that's what I've done, and no, I haven't scratched it yet, so we'll worry about that later. So that is pretty much what's going on, and what has gone on, and that's kind of like the resolution to my problem. Some kind of message popped up there, I don't know what it said.